Lightroom 4 has added the ability to soft-proof your image to help you avoid printing or displaying out-of-gamut colors. In this video, we'll see how to use this exciting new feature. First, let's examine this image to see if the colors are out of gamut. I'm going to go down here to the toolbar, and I can either select soft proofing here, or I can simply use the keyboard command S. And that starts up soft proofing. Now, if you go over here to the right, you can see underneath the histogram, there's several new controls that appear. One thing I want to show you right away, now I'm going to move my cursor over a color, and you can see underneath the histogram, instead of having a percentage of red, green, and blue displayed, we now have values. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to create a proof copy. I'm going to do that right away. So you see a virtual copy appears here in the film strip. And the reason I'm doing that is because as I find different colors in this image that are out of gamut for a particular destination, I'm going to use some of the developed controls to bring those colors back into gamut. Now, that's just going to be for this image going to a particular destination. I want to keep an original version untouched so that I can always go back to that for reference. All right, so I've created my proof preview, and the next thing I'm going to look at here is what profile I want to be working with. This is the destination profile, in this case, Adobe RGB or sRGB. Let's start off with Adobe RGB, which is a pretty standard profile for a little bit more sophisticated printers, say. And now we're going to get into the whole issue of custom profiles for printing later. But let's just start with Adobe RGB. It's a fairly wide gamut. It's not as wide as the Pro Photo gamut that Lightroom is working in, but it's definitely wider than the sRGB. And when I say wider, I mean it holds more colors. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do is move up here to the histogram, and you can see up here in the upper right-hand side, this is a destination gamut warning icon. If I click on that, it'll keep the gamut warning on. And now I'm noticing areas in the image that when this image goes into the RGB color space, these colors, this area that you see designated here in red, will not hold. They will not be contained in the new package, in the Adobe RGB package. So that's, for now, this is just information. We're going to come back to what to do about that later. All right, so the other thing I want you to see is what happens when I move to a smaller color space, the sRGB color space. Now even more colors are out of gamut. That means that they will not print. If you were going to print with a printer, for example, that works with the sRGB color space, these colors just would not hold up. They would print, but they would just not look at all like what I'm seeing on my monitor here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that warning off. By the way, you can also get to the destination warning by simply using the Shift S key. That turns it on and off, Shift S. Now, you may be wondering what this is over here. This is the monitor gamut warning. So if I select that, it's telling me what colors in the case of this monitor. So this warning now is telling me what colors are not showing up properly on this monitor. And now let's move this to Adobe RGB, and you can see now with the profile set to the Adobe RGB, more colors in this case are not being translated properly into this monitor. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn that off and go ahead and turn this back on, because the next step is choosing the intent. And now what is intent? Intent, basically, this is, let me go ahead and hold my cursor over perceptual, and it tells you right there. When you use this intent, it's preserving out of gamut detail, but may change in gamut colors. Now, what does it mean by intent? When you translate from one color space to another, you have to use some kind of mechanism for that conversion. And in this case, the perceptual intent, this is exactly what it's doing. It's going to hold the out-of-gamut detail, but changes in-gamut colors. You're going to get a shift in colors, basically. Now, that may not be at all important to you because it's such a slight shift in